Judge ready? Timekeeper ready? Oh God. Hi, my name is Barbara Ellen Diggs, and I'm a craftsperson here in Decatur, and today I would like to speak to you, our Junior Chamber of Commerce, about the importance of crafts in our culture. Today, I exhibit my work statewide and teach a number of workshops at the local women's prison where a lady who recently started her entire family now makes note cards, personalized with sequins and dried corn. And I recently crocheted a tuxedo for my toaster. Well, you know, my family's always been very supportive of my hobbies. Well, except for my son, whom I love dearly. I also deeply enjoy scrapbooking. Dealing with the loss of a loved one is the worst pain one will endure in their lifetime. For this reason, mankind has a way of deterring from the main root of the problem. This can be shown through a euphemism. Euphemisms can range to anything from a simple metaphor to all-consuming hobbies like crafts. Joseph Woodcritch once said that any euphemism ceases to be euphemistic after a time, and the real meaning starts to show through. It's a losing game, but we keep on trying. Playwright Paul Rudnick shows that it is not about finding happiness after a death, but rather finding closure. Although it is hard, one can find solace from the pain of loss, even in the most unexpected of places. Crafty by Paul Rudnick. Well, you know, some sophisticated folks say crafts aren't art. But by the same token, some say New Yorkers aren't people. Crafts allow me to express myself by creating something worth dusting. Oh, for example, here is a Xerox Polaroid of my old Aunt Polly placed at the center of a piece of oak tag, and then I surrounded it with these cute little heart-shaped doilies. And I worked out her name, Aunt Polly. And I included some movie ticket stubs from a film we saw together, the invitation to our wedding, and a tiny burlap sack containing one of her kidney stones. The page now weighs 18 pounds, and it can tell you Aunt Polly's entire life story. And I don't even like her. Oh, you know, my son Hank was always really very special. Oh, he used to scold me for using words like that, what do you call them, euphemisms. He'd say, Mom, I'm gay, and I'd say, no, you're not, you're special. And he'd say, no, that makes me sound like I'm retarded, and I'd say, I wish. And we'd laugh. Oh, and you know, it never really bothered me that he moved so far away and started working for this big costume designer and Broadway company in New York. Oh, he didn't come home that often, but we would write back and forth. And he would send me those beautiful trims and braids from all the costumes. And well, you know, I wouldn't know what to do with them, so to thank him, I'd send him those little Hummel figurines. Oh, you know, those cute little ceramic children always holding an umbrella or petting a puppy or sitting on a swing. And he would get so mad. He'd say, Mom, stop sending me things you can order off the TV. Which hurt me. And so I said, you know what, Hank? Maybe if homosexuality is genetic, then so is home shopping. Well, then he got sick. That terrible disease. So I flew to New York to see him in the hospital. And do you know what I brought? Nothing. I didn't want to embarrass him in front of all his friends who were all so sweet. They kept hugging me and kissing me and saying, Hank, your mom's a hoot. A hoot. That means I wear polyester without irony. Oh, but they were all really very sweet and so good to Hank. And when he finally woke up, he said, Mom, what'd you bring me? A pot holder, a picture frame with twine and daisies, 2 little bunnies on a sled. I said, no. I know how that stuff just upsets you and makes you feel like a hick. And he said, "Oh, that's okay. I just want to see you anyways." Well, I stayed there until, well, let's use one of those euphemisms, until he passed away. And maybe that's why euphemisms were invented. Not because people were ashamed, but because they hated the real word too much. And I hated that word. And I hated that disease for the longest time, and I just went home, and I went to work, and I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch a needle, not a bob, and not a thread. I would not bring beauty or joy or rickrack into this world. I was just too... I was just too sad. But, then I saw that quilt on TV. 75,000 squares, all for a different man, woman, and child. And I thought, my Lord, it's like a cemetery created by the Ladies' Home Journal. So I grabbed a piece of hot pink felt and all the trims and braids that Hank had given me, and I sewed them on. And I embroidered his name. Oh, and I sewed on his favorite t-shirt that says, "No one knows I'm gay." Only I changed it, so it says, "No one knows I'm from Decatur." Oh, but that was ages ago. And now they've got medicine, so people, well, some people can keep on going. Oh, and they've got all new ways to hurt people, like that 9/11. Recently, I was in the Kitty City for a cake decorating competition. It was cutthroat. And I couldn't go downtown because it was so terrible, and because that was where Hank lived. So I went to Central Park. And in the park, they were having this, what do you call it? An installation by some fancy French artist. And in the park, they had set up these archways, these big aluminum gates. And from the top, in the center, there was a bright orange curtain. And, it didn't make any sense. But it was very pretty. And then the sun came out. And the wind was blowing all those orange curtains back and forth. And I asked the woman next to me, I said, "This installation and all its orange fabric, does it make people feel better?" And she said yes. And I hadn't talked about him in so long. But I stood there under one of those big aluminum gates, and I talked all about him. And I asked her if she had been there on 9/11, and she said yes. And I asked her if she had lost anybody, and she said yes. I don't know if I believe in God anymore, but I do believe in cute, and I believe in glue, and I believe in hot pink felt. And maybe if I was a New Yorker, I'd believe in bright orange curtains hanging in Central Park. Thank you for judging, and thank you for timekeeping.